Welcome back, everyone, to another Plate Stack Chat Live. As always, I'm Jason, joined by Sam LaRoche and Tom Forder. Sam, Tom, how are you guys doing?
Doing great, thank you. Yeah, hanging in there.
So Sam's chosen to go finger guns, which is great for the people watching. The majority of people that still listen to it as a podcast, by the way, Sam did finger guns. Guys, the Open is fast approaching. As of today, we are all officially signed up. And I even convinced my wife to sign up. So this is her first year doing it, despite doing CrossFit as long as me. But there was more pressure because she was on my team as part of the kind of Bath free teams that we're doing to get points. So, this time I couldn't let it go. She had to join. Now, when it comes to the Open, I don't know about you, but there are a handful of names that spring to mind when I'm looking for help during the Open. And today we have two of them with us. So if I want to think about a strategy to attack a workout or to master maybe that movement that I hadn't quite got down over the last couple of years, but I need it now for an open workout, well, I'm going to Wodprep. I'm going to Ben. So I'm very happy that we have Ben Jawalski with us from Wodprep. Ben, how are you?
I'm doing well. And I mean, I'm going to give you a solid C+ on the pronunciation, which is good. That's passing. That's better than some of the grades I got in school. I'm doing well.
Was that the pronunciation of Wodprep? Or your name?
You nailed it. Yeah, Wodprep totally nailed it.
Now, another name that always springs up is, if Ben is helping me get points in the Open or do a few extra reps, the person that's helping me not lose points or get a few extra no reps is obviously the main man himself, Adrian Bozman. Now that he's a friend of ours, we can call him Boz. Boz, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. Yeah, absolutely. Friend to all, I would like to think. So yeah, good to be here.
Friend to all. I see a lot of people are updating their Instagram bio right now.
And I'm just a little disappointed that I didn't get to be the finger guns. I had that one, locked and loaded, but I can't double up on something like that. So
I'm sorry, Boz.
It's okay.
Right, we'll get you back on in the future, and then we'll make sure you get the finger guns, and then and all is good. Guys, I suppose the first question I've got to launch out with, because it would be rude not to, is why should people do the Open? I mean, I get it if they want to go to the games, but your average person like myself, what's the kind of the go-to reason you would give someone, this is why you should do the Open?
Is that for me?
It's for you or Ben. I mean, I don't really care what Tom thinks.
All day. I mean, fundamentally, it's the easiest answer in the world because it's just fun. You get to do it with a bunch of people around the world. Everybody's doing this thing together. It's your opportunity to find a friend and talk smack with them. It's an opportunity to kind of take stock of what your training's been like, good or bad. But at the end of the day, it's just a blast to be a part of it. I think about it the same way as like a fun run. In the United States, we have fun runs, 5Ks, 10Ks that they pop up around holidays, particularly. And you think the same logic applies. You could be a pessimist or a cynic and say, well, I don't need to enter a race to go run 5K. I can just open up my front door and go do it. It's like, well, of course, sure. But being part of an event has a certain gravitas to it that can't be denied. So at the end of the day, it's fun to get involved with other people doing it. And I am very much of the opinion that if that's not enough of a grab for you to do it, then don't.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting because we've been trying to rally the troops at the local box. So we've been every member of CrossFit Bath was assigned to a team. Then we have team captains and vice captains, and it's kind of their job to get the people that are assigned to their team to sign up for the Open, to get involved and that. And I find a lot of people it's a lot of pressure. It feels like, I'm a bit scared of it. And most of the time, the way to convince people to do it is that kind of it's not a competition for you. Like, you don't worry. If you're not thinking of going to the games, it's not really a competition for you. Have fun with it. It doesn't matter if you're going to be 70,594 or 70,597. It's the same, right? Don't worry about that. Just have fun with the workout.
I'll say that there's immense value, especially as you get a little bit older in life. I'm not old by any stretch, but I'm certainly past the prime of my life where I would be competitive in more traditional athletics or whatever, even if I was a good athlete in the first place. But the point is that I think as you get later on in life, there are less and less opportunities for you to commit to something physical, have a time-bound restriction on that, show up and do it. And there's so many intangible benefits that come from that, both psychologically and physically. So, if that's something that appeals to you, that's great. But I think that that's more of something that emerges once somebody has had the experience. I find that anybody that's been through the open in the past, they can start to articulate some of those things because they've experienced it. What's a harder thing to convince people of is if they've never done it, why should they jump in the first place? But, again, I just come back to, hey, man, it's fun. It's a little bit of peer pressure in the most positive sense. All your friends are going to be doing it. The whole gym is going to be rallied around you, and it's going to be a blast. So just.
And I tell everyone about open magic, like exactly what Boz is talking about
sure.
right now. It's like, actually, like I mentioned before the call, like I sent out an email to 90,000 people this morning trying to convince them that magic is real. And where you find it is in the 2022 CrossFit Open. Because I know every single one of us here on this panel has seen the transformation take place when I actually used an example. There was a guy who went to my box. I used to be a box owner back in Maryland. This was probably like 7-8 years ago. And this guy, Andrew, that's all I'll just say. His name's Andrew. He would always come to the gym, and he was always kind of like a Debbie Downer on himself, but he would always show up. So I was trying to like boost his confidence. I was trying to get him fired up. And I remember the Open came around, and we had a gym full of beginners. And I tried to get everyone rallied. I'm like, you guys got to do the Open. And it's like, what's the point of the Open? Well, it's a competition. And I eventually explained how, like, yes, it does. It's the first qualifier for the CrossFit Games, but it's also like a great way to test yourself and to test yourself against others. And it's just a great community thing. I pulled out the whole toolkit, and he's like, oh, so you want me to pay money to show myself how bad I am at CrossFit? Like, no, thanks.
That's exactly what the people at my gym say. Like, exactly what they say.
So here's what I did. And obviously this isn't a scalable strategy, but for me, I was like, I know, because at that point I had done the Open several years. I was like, I know this kid is going to experience Open magic. I can feel it. So I paid out of my pocket actually and registered him without him even knowing. Probably illegal. I don't know. But I registered.
I won't tell
at this point.
Earmuffs CrossFit HQ. So I paid. I like put his name in. I registered on his behalf, created an account for him and everything. And I knew he was coming to the Friday afternoon class, and I knew we'd be running the Open workout. So the Open workout, I think it was 13.1. It had double unders in it. He had never done a double under. No way that he was going to do double unders. Like, he was just like, he hated them. Like, he, hated everything, but especially hated that one. And he shows up, and we had this, like, we had the Friday night lights thing going. We had like a potluck afterwards. Like, all the morning class people are there in the evening, and the lunch class, like, everyone was there. And all of a sudden, 3, 2, 1, go. He's going to do the scale division. He picks up his rope, and I just look at him like, Andrew, I want you to try double unders. He's like, all right, I'm going to try it, because everyone's there cheering him on. And he like does a couple singles, and then boom, hits his first double under ever. And the whole gym erupted. He dropped the rope because he was like in shock. And basically the moral of the story is that like his life changed that day. Like, the amount of self-confidence that I saw from that kid moving forward. I know it seems crazy. One double under, right? He went on to be able to complete like multiple rounds. So he did, I think, 60 double unders in that workout. And it just like, it transformed his life just having that little bit of peer pressure. So that's a long story to say Open magic is a real thing. And that's just one of thousands of examples that I've personally witnessed of people just getting the first of something and then just surprising themselves with their abilities. So highly recommend it for sure.
I really, go on, boss.
I couldn't agree more. And just one thing I want to add in there is, okay, there's a lot of pessimists in the world. There's a lot of cynics in the world. Fine. That's their prerogative. You cannot defeat pessimism by saying, hey, I have an optimistic point of view. You should too. So if you have people in the gym that say, why would I pay money to show up and do a workout? You trying to convince them of like, well, it's really cool and this and that and the other, like, that's just going to have combative tones written all over it. And so I find that the approach that is very disarming is exactly what I said earlier, where it's like, yeah, it doesn't sound appealing to you, don't do it. I'm going to have a blast with it. And me and the other people that want to do it are going to it's going to be awesome. But yeah, don't do it if you don't want to do it. And most of the time that gives people pause and they're like, well, wait a minute, there's no hard sell here. Like, I don't have to do this thing. And then maybe they'll get a little bit more curious when they feel that it's not such a defensive end.
Yeah. And by the way, you might even be doing the workout anyway. Like, if you show up to class, you're going to do it anyway. So you might as well register, you know.
That's the thing I've been telling everyone is like, but are you coming on Friday? Because if you're coming on Friday, you're doing the workout. So like, and actually, if you do the workout and you just choose to scale it yourself, you're probably going to scale it somewhere in between scaled and RX. So you might actually have a better day on Friday coming in and doing the scaled version, because it's going to be maybe nice for you. Or actually you might push yourself that little bit harder and hit the RX workout. And I know there are certain weights I don't want to use unless I have to for the open. We've just lost Boz, everybody, but I'm sure he'll be back. Don't worry.
Yeah. I want to jump in on the kind of like the open magic, because I was talking to an affiliate owner earlier this week, and I think especially when we talk about those that are already within our communities and are like, really, why would I pay to do a workout and to be told how bad I am? But I'm sure all of us on our phones or on our Instagram feeds or can find quite easily a video of that open magic.
Yeah.
And if you show that video to someone who is not inducted into the community of CrossFit, and they all go, because we're fortunate to be exposed to that week in, week out, potentially day in, day out. But if you show that an example of open magic to someone outside of, and by open magic, you know, Ben, I'm sure you'll agree, I don't mean people going super fast and showing how fit they are. It's the camaraderie and the support. If you show someone to that who's never had that experience, they're probably, their mouth will open, their eyes will go wide, and they'll be like, that is incredible. What an amazing experience you have. So I think if you're already within the community but unsure, share that with someone, that like show a video to someone, and they'll probably convince you themselves that, yeah, I want to make sure I'm in that Friday night lights or that Saturday morning or Thursday night or whenever it might be.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you'll never experience such an energetic, like local competitions and things like that are great. Going to the games is great. Like watching all these competitions, but there's just something about the open that it's just like everyone's in it. We're all on the same team. No one's rooting for anyone in particular. And like, man, the amount of, I know I've seen the pictures from CrossFit HQ. I know we have like literally probably thousands of pieces of content of people like getting their first fill in the blank, pistol, toes to bar muscle up, ring muscle up, double under, right? Like just like hitting the RX weight of a barbell. You know, you see these things happen, and then the entire gym just erupts, and then this like phoenix emerges, and they're just like, I can do it. It's truly magical. But exactly what Boz was saying earlier, it's like, don't be the affiliate owner, for coaches and affiliate owners that are listening. Don't be the affiliate owner that tries to shove it down their members' throats, because I don't think that's really effective. More just
nobody likes that.
Yeah, no one likes that. And it's your job to just create an environment that's like, hey, whoever's ready to have some really good times and have fun on Friday night or Saturday morning or whenever you run it, whoever wants to have a really good time, like come join us and see what it's like. And then that like natural progression will be like, I'm going to register.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because you don't actually have to sign up until Monday, right?
Yeah.
So you could turn up Friday, love it so much, and just be like, well, duh, I'll just sign up now. Where do I sign up? The guys at my gym think I'm at. Go on,
no, finish. Sorry, get that little delay.
Well, the guys at my gym think I get commission from CrossFit for trying to get people to sign up. Like every class I'm in, like, hey, is everybody signed up for the open? Like, I assume you all signed up. You know, I must have been one of the first people to sign up in the world. It literally dropped, I think, at midnight in America, which ended up, or 5 p.m. in America, which was like midnight here. And I was straight on, signed up, and everyone was like, oh, you're a bit of a try hard. I was like, no, man, I just love it. They're like, are you on commission? I'm like, no, I just love it. Like, I couldn't be more of an evangelist for the open. Like my gym, the guy who owns our affiliate messaged me on WhatsApp, and he said, like, have you got any like words for the judges? Because that's like another important part of the kind of thing, the people who are judging, because they might have done the judges course, but they might have never ever judged before. But I said, we want to make it, I said to him, like, we want to make it as fun and challenges as possible, but the standard is the standard, and we'll do nobody any favors by letting them off reps. Be encouraging, fair, and enjoy the biggest party in the world. Like, that's kind of like how I feel about it. It's kind of like, you know, you're not letting anyone off. You're not helping anyone by letting them off their reps, because actually it just sort of gets out of the kind of, that's the whole point of the Open. You're testing yourself, and if you're letting people off, you could do that in any class, anytime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Claire's
Claire's
a lady from our gym, and she's agreeing every class. I do this. I do that. In fact, she's one of the coaches from our gym. Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, using her son's account, we should say.
Yeah. And talk about one other aspect of the Open that I think is so fun, and that is the worldwide leaderboard. You know, it is so cool to have your name up there. And, you know, people want to argue, oh, I'm excellent, or I'm terrible, or I'm somewhere in the middle, or I don't even know where I stack up. That is not the point. The point is that wherever you are, there are thousands of other people that are in the same range as you. And it's super fun to take a look at that leaderboard and say, I always have these like secret Open rivals. You know, I'll be 80,000th in the world or whatever on the first workout. But I'm like, oh, this dude from Siberia is just like a couple points ahead. I'm gunning for him on the next one. You know, I've never met this guy. I probably never will meet this guy. But for that couple of weeks, he's like my target. And I have this kind of fun mental competition with this guy from halfway around the world that is like right at my level. As seen by our results being so similar in these workouts. And that's really fun. You know, it's a cool thing to feel that kind of connection, not just with the people in your box, but people around the world. It's it's great. It's great to be in that system, in my opinion.
I love how much like fun is coming into every discussion we're having here. And I think for me personally, that's something I can get stuck inside my head. And sometimes, like, you know, the countdown and the kind of fun aspect is lost. I know, actually, and a lot of people will disagree with me. Last year, 2021, here in the UK, affiliates were still closed. And so to do the Open last year took a lot of creativity. Yeah. I was very fortunate to have equipment that I could use, which I'm very grateful for. But actually, it's probably one of the most fun Opens I've had, because expectation was out the window. It was simply about trying safely to have fun with friends. You know, I was doing, I did 21.1 in like a multi-story car park because it was dry. It had a flat surface for wall walks and things like that. And so that's something, it's great to hear, you know, all of us kind of, Sam, you've mentioned it, Boz and Ben, like, you know, fun has to be at the top. And I think that probably comes down to not how, like I say, I get stuck in my head. So kind of preparing correctly, but equally kind of conducting yourself appropriately once 3, 2, 1 goes as well, because that's something I got to work hard on, especially this year.
Yeah, well, that rolls nicely in then to the next point. So we've understood why we should do the Open, and probably the majority of the people listening or watching to this, that you've signed up, right? All of you? Yes, good. If you haven't, pause this, go and sign up.
Well, I was looking you up earlier. Have you signed up yet, or did I just throw your name
every single year, I wait until I've done the first workout and then I sign up. It's just I'm a procrastinator by nature because pressure makes diamonds. I've been saying that since I've been procrastinating since high school. So I'll be there. I'm ready. I'll register. I like that. Yeah. And we have like custom leaderboards and stuff like that. Like there's a podcast that I run called Scale and Bail. We're gonna have a custom leaderboard for that. Wodprep will have its own custom leader. So I'm all in, but yeah, I'll be missing conspicuously until the end. I'm also one of the sandbaggers that waits to put my score in as if it matters at all, because it doesn't. Because I'm getting worse and worse every year, but I love it.
You know, this year's different, right?
You know, I'm going to put my score in immediately, so I'll be the highest I'll ever be, and then as other people put their scores in, I'll just start dropping. But for that moment and that screenshot, I will be right near the top.
What's different this year, Boz?
In years past, if you're doing the workouts at an affiliate, your scores are effectively blind until the affiliate manager validates them as that secondary step. That's not going to be the case this year. We've been trying to get the word out about that, but the idea is that as soon as you submit your score, it's going to be up there. And if it's still pending, meaning it hasn't been validated, it'll display a little bit visually differently. And then if it's never validated, it'll roll off after the validation period ends. But we're going to give people that visibility up front. And that was actually feedback that we got from people in affiliates where they had affiliate managers like yourself that maybe had a proclivity for procrastination and they effectively couldn't see their scores on the board until the competition was over because their affiliate manager took their time doing so. And so it'll be more fun for the average person to actually be able to see where they are on those leaderboard.
And it's probably gonna help CrossFit HQ not get as many support ticket requests. Like, where's my score? You know, because I remember,
right? Yeah, exactly.
50 athletes like, hey Ben, my score's not on the board. I'm like, I know, I haven't validated yet. Calm down. We're gonna do it in 1 week.
Yeah, exactly.
Calm down. Pressure creates diamonds. Come on.
Yes, that's what I say. Pressure makes diamonds, baby. But no, that's awesome. That's a really, really cool new feature this year. I'm excited about that.
I'm interested on what the visual might be, Boz. Is it like a, like a thumbs up and a thumbs down? Like,
no, it'll be something way more. No, it'll be pretty subtle. It'll be, like the scores that are validated, it'll be black text, and the scores that are not yet validated will be gray text or something like that. The designers are still finalizing what that's going to look like, but just a little visual distinction between the two.
Love it.
So you've got between now and the Open to come up with an answer for someone when they come up to you at your local affiliate and say, hey, how come your score's this color, my score's that color? What does that mean? And then you've got to create some great story as to, that's because maybe they thought your reps were dubious, so they've what how did that?
You're under review.
Speaking of, obviously, if we've signed up, we want to attack the Open in the best way possible. We want to have fun. We've definitely underlined that fact. But, I guess the majority of people that do CrossFit are competitive, even if it's just with themselves by nature, right? So they want to do the Open, but they also want to get the best score they can, right? So I'm imagining that you guys have some pretty either top tips or the important things you need to do before tackling an Open workout. And seeing as we've got such great experts here today, I thought we'd just steal some of your ideas. And then hopefully our listeners and more importantly ourselves will get better scores this year. So that would be nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I think
I'll hold back my I'll just hold back on this. Obviously, I was referring to me, Boz and Ben. I'll let you do your thing first, and then
you can have the last word.
Yeah. As long as that's okay. I don't want to.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, I think the most important thing to do is to just understand the workout itself. Every year we go through a lot of trouble to create these workout standards documents. They have all of the movement standards in them. They've got a scorecard, and shockingly few people choose to use that as a resource, which I think is a shame. And sometimes it comes around to bite people because they didn't take the time to actually read the movement standard, and then it turns out that they didn't meet it because they didn't understand it. So it starts with really simply with understand what is being asked of you. And if you're just the average person, that should be something that you can look to your coach or your affiliate owner to do. They should take that responsibility. If they're going to be promoting the Open, that should be part of their job, is to really understand and take the time to read through those things so that they can give the best information to their athletes. So that to me is like the number one thing. Take the 10 minutes to just read the darn thing and understand it. It's really not that complicated, but it's important to do.
It's so funny you say that, because that is it. Pretty much every single Open strategy video I've ever released, it's probably going on 6 or 7 years now. We put them on YouTube and all over the place. The opener for every video is like, here's the workout, and the workout kind of pops up. And then I'm like, please go to games.crossfit.com and download the movement standards, because I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I still will I make sure to highlight specifics that are like, ooh, this might catch you in the video. I
love you for it.
Oh man. Yeah. And it's still, of course, I'm sure everyone's like, okay, yeah, sure. No, I'm not going to do that. And then they're just like, give me the good stuff. But yeah, I mean, it makes so much of a difference to actually go and watch, because there's, especially recently. I know, like in the quarterfinals, right? It was like you had to have certain things a specific distance away from other pieces of equipment so that you couldn't like game the system and have everything stacked right next to each other.
Yeah.
And it was just like simple things like that I still saw like pretty high level athletes just, nope, I don't care. I'm not going to read the rules. So this is one of the few instances where reading the instruction manual is very beneficial.
And I think even more so if it's
for
a movement
sure.
that you are familiar with. I think last year, the one I kept seeing on Instagram's a dangerous place to be, but the one I kept seeing, like people posting up after the workout, was the dumbbell snatches, and I'm pretty sure it was written that both heads of the dumbbell needed to touch the ground before each dumbbell snatch, right? And the number that you could see where they were just the top head hitting the floor and it shooting straight back up. And I was even seeing people like dead after their workout, like, oh, redid it, but yeah, I got 5 extra reps. And I was like, but did you?
Yeah. And the free hand just pushing off that other leg.
Oh man.
Like I see that free hand doing all kinds of assistance, and that's not allowed. And yeah, I mean, that's a big one because a lot of people, they carry over the standards that, whatever they do in the gym that they've set for themselves. Like for some people, when they do wall walks, it's like, oh yeah, I just like touch my chest to the wall and go back down. It's like, well, no, now we have this target for our hands, and then we have to get our hands to the other target before we can drop off the wall. And I know, like, for people who are actually holding the movement standards, like that was kind of tricky for a lot of people. So just carrying over the way that you do it in class doesn't always mean that it's going to be a good rep come game time, especially for dumbbell snatches. Probably one of the best examples of that, because you got the trailing arm pushing off the knee, you got the single head of the dumbbell rather than both heads. Yeah, it was a bit tricky.
That was the interesting bit.
Sure.
I was in the gym the other day, and the coach was saying, someone asked, like, we were doing dumbbell snatch, and someone asked, like, what part of the dumbbell touches the floor, and I was like, well, both heads, right? And they were like, oh no, one's fine. And then I was doing the workout, and I was touching both heads on the floor, and they were like, oh, you're making it so much harder for yourself. I'm like, no, I'm making it easier for myself come the open, because I know that CrossFit aren't going to do it as a single head, or they're going to be very specific about like the front or the back head or both, and it's more likely to be both than it is single, I would imagine.
Well,
anyway.
and I'll hit you guys with a little training philosophy here that is certainly not an idea that I have originated. I think I heard this first from the great Louis Simmons, but he talks all the time. He's like, why would you want your training to be easy or easier than you can be expected to compete? That doesn't make any sense. You want your training to be more difficult so that when you come to competition and the standard is something that's less than what you've been training, you're like, great, I have a leg up. This is awesome, but it shouldn't be the other way around. And it baffles me why people are so interested in the gym in maximizing, what they can do by eking the standards to their liking, instead of the other way around. It's like, no, make it hard in training. Make it so that like that's the challenge. And then when it's game time, all you have to do is show up and do the thing. And it turns out, hey, maybe it's a little bit less than what you were expecting, which is a bonus for you.
On that note, like that is a perfect note. One of my biggest tips for people preparing for the Open, it's a little late at this point, admittedly, but it's still, you could probably squeeze in a workout or two, is practice with a heavier wall ball. Like everyone hates wall balls unless you're 6'5". That's what it seems like. Everyone complains about them. And one of my biggest like life hacks is just upgrade your wall ball. Like, so I did an entire year of training at a 30-pound wall ball. Like anytime a workout showed up, it's like, all right, 30-pound wall ball, even if the standard was 20. And guess what? Come the Open time, wall balls were no longer the issue for me, because the 20 feels like, it's like, man, I can do these one-handed. And it's like simple things like that. Additionally, like heavy squats, like a lot of people get really dependent on gear, meaning like they're like, anytime there's a squat of anything, I put a belt on. Anytime I go below parallel, I'm wearing weightlifters and knee sleeves and this and that and the other. And I'm a big proponent of like, how about we train naked, not literally naked, but train without the gear.
You get on really well with Hunter McIntyre. He loves training naked.
Sure.
Hey man, taking it back to the Greek gymnasio, right?
Yeah. That came out a little different, but it's like train without the gear, without the enhancers, and then all of a sudden, when it's like you get to magically wear this belt on a heavy lift, you're like, wow, this thing really feels great. So it's like practice exactly what you said, Boz. Like practice a little bit harder, like make it at least a few degrees harder, so that when it's game time and your adrenaline's pumping and you can eke out those extra reps just due to the motivation, you're going to be amazed at how great you feel when the standards are actually easier than the standards you've been holding yourself to.
I mean, my thought on all the extra gear people wear is I just throw back to it being functional fitness. And I kind of imagine if I'm out somewhere and I need to use my fitness, I probably don't have a bag full of different kit that I can like sort of throw, like, oh no, this tree's fallen down in the middle of the road, I need to move it. Just going to go and get my belt and my lifters and my knee sleeves, and I'll be good to go. Like you just want to be ready, right? That's interesting.
Just put your heels on the curb or something, like instant lifters. There you go.
Oh, I'd say as
bring it back around.
Go for it, Boz. Oh, I was going to say as a
Tom, say what you're going to say. Come on.
I'm going to say, talking of functional fitness, Jason. So as I'm a new father, and I have suddenly noticed how all the kind of functional stuff comes in. The farmer's carry with the car seat, lifting things in compromised positions, bending over cots to change nappies and stuff. So yeah, I definitely think I'm not getting my lifting belt on to kind of support my lower back when it's 3 a.m. in the morning and I've got my head below my hips.
Do you feel though like you actually? So I feel like that. When I'm like patting my son, I'm hunched over, and I'm like, oh, maybe if I straighten my back, this will be easier.
Yeah. I do it all the time. I'm thinking of like what's my like pelvic tilt, like, you know, what am I doing? Maybe if I just kind of squat a little bit more rather than just bend over. Definitely kind of CrossFit and following the methodology for many years now has given me increased like proprioception, like how I'm moving, not just in the gym, but when I'm probably more likely to injure myself, which is kind of like trying to carry all the shopping from the car.
Well, I'm about a 5-minute walk from CrossFit Bath, and generally Rochelle goes and does like the 9:30 class, and then I go and do the 10:30 class. So my warm up is usually this 5-minute walk, but using my daughter like a sandbag. I have to carry her because her legs are too tired to walk that distance. So it's very functional, all of this fitness. If that shows up in the open, I'm going to be good to go. I mean, I didn't see a small child on the equipment list, so it probably won't be there, but unknown and unknowable. You never know what they're going to throw at you.
We got to keep some secrets close to the chest too, right? Like you can't reveal everything, so you never know. Could come at you. But to bring it back
to Ben's point, no wall balls. So
there's going to be a worldwide demand for 50-pound toddlers.
Does that mean if your toddler is heavier, do you like starve them a bit so that they are like just I don't know? Maybe that's not quite right.
Okay. Boz, let's bring it back to you.
Yeah,
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No worries. I was just gonna say, as far as strategies and getting down to how you can maximize your performance, like we touched on number one, understand it. Make sure you take the time to look at it, and then number two, I think, is have fun exploring how you're going to attack this thing, and to bring it back to this idea that everybody's doing it together. That to me is another really fun aspect of the open. It's like you get in the gym, everybody knows what the workout's going to be. You can figure out the people that you're kind of close to in the gym, and you can start asking each other, okay, how are you going to approach this? I'm going to just come out the gates flying, and somebody else says, no, I have a really strategic way I'm going to break this up, and somebody else is totally unplanned or whatever. And that's fun too, is kind of crafting a way that you think is going to best your efforts there, or maximize your efforts. And if you're anything like me, the best laid plans don't always come to fruition. And you go into it with this like really awesome strategy, and it goes out the window after the first round. But part of the fun of it is that speculation. And it's one more opportunity that as a coach, you can engage with your members, and you can, start to get them thinking about their fitness. And to me, that's kind of the primary job of the coach, is to be working with people enough so that they are empowered to do it on their own. You're almost trying to make yourself obsolete. You never will be, but you should be trying as hard as possible to make yourself obsolete. So it's one more opportunity that you can get out there and say, hey, how would you approach this? Here's what I know about you. Here's how I think it's going to go down. Here's what I think might be a good idea for you. Do you agree? Let's walk through this together. And I think that's a fun part of the Open that is really, really rooted in some practical skills on both sides of the fence, be it athlete or coach.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of mental awareness and physical awareness that comes from the Open. Personal experience of mine is I remember coaching an athlete who was a workout. It opened with a lot of toes to bar, and her like 1 rep max or 1 set max of unbroken toes to bar at the time was like 12. Okay. She opens up this workout with 22 unbroken just because she's feeling it. And I just remember we had a discussion prior to the workout. I was like, hey, like there's like really, really high level athletes that are sticking to 5s. Personally, I'm probably just going to do singles just because the toes to bar isn't what we're doing here. The double unders and the heavy cleans that were coming. That's really where I'm trying not to gas out. Let's pace the toes to bar. She's like, okay, got it. 3, 2, 1, go. 22 unbroken. And it's just like, it's incredible to get people to like realize like, wow, like I kind of get flustered when the pressure's on. So like having people like kind of tune into that and realize like, man, I'm not as like mentally like dialed in on some of these things as I thought I was going to be. And I really need to be more intentional with my plan and see if I actually have the mental fortitude to stick with that plan. It's amazing how much athletes learn about themselves in the middle of the Open, especially when like the pressure's on, the adrenaline's going. Like the amount of people that I've seen just come out of the gate, just like Boz said, like full send. It's why every single one of our Open strategy videos, like literally every single one of them is like, hey, you're going to want to come out of this full system, full send. Let's take it back from level 10 to level 7. Start slower than you think. Every single Open video and every single one, I get some sort of like, yeah, I started a little bit too fast on that one. So it's something that everyone has to face. And it's amazing that this Open season can be used as a tool to show people like how unaware of their emotions they are in the middle of workouts and get them to kind of calm things down and really focus on executing the plan. So I think that's a really good point, Boz.
The interesting bit about the workouts that I kind of find is, and especially watching your videos, Ben, before is, and actually I've done it myself now. So working out like what sort of sets you can do. So over January, I did a kind of a challenge to raise money for a mental health charity in the UK. I did 50 burpees a day, and I weigh sort of just under 150 kilos. So burpees are not really my friend. But now burpees are absolutely my friend, because I think it was maybe last year or the year before, like the 5 tricks and tips and tricks, the 5 movements that are the best ones to learn. And nobody thinks like burpees, but actually like being proficient at burpees is such a forget the Open, but just being proficient at a burpee.
Burpees are a skill.
Special. They are.
I tell people that.
Well, and when you've done like 1,500 of them over 30 days, you know what is a proficient way of doing a burpee and what isn't, because you have to do them proficiently to get your 50 every day. So that I've kind of, and I learned like my first day, it took me 6.5 minutes. It was 6 minutes 20 to do 50 burpees. On my 31st day, it was 4 minutes 17. So I took 2 minutes off of 50 burpees. Like that's a lot of time off of, but if you do that with like all of the movements that you can, you know, how long does it take me to do 20 wall balls? How long does it take me to do, all these things? Roughly how long, when they release the movement standards, you should know roughly how long a workout might take you, because roughly how long each of these movements take. I mean, when you throw in weird ones like wall walks, I mean, before last year, who was practicing wall walks apart from as a regression for something else, but actually crazy.
Yeah. And I think that does, like, this is a great thing, and another reason why doing the open is so good is that you take that mentality then into all your workouts through the rest of the year, right? So it's on the whiteboard, and you're not just going there and waiting for the coach to say, okay, and this is the workout, it's an AMRAP of these 4 movements, you got this much time, and you're like, okay, just go and kind of, I'll just see what let's see what happens. You'll be looking at that going, okay, all right, so I know maybe I'll do that bit unbroken, I'll break this in half, and I'll do that, and that's probably consistent to then go multiple rounds at that, and maybe if I get through this many rounds, I might adjust slightly. Like, you start just looking at workouts in a different way, whereas probably if you've never been forced to come up with a strategy for a workout, you just sort of, let's see where the wind takes us and hold on. And that's at least that's been my experience anyway. We've had some interesting questions come through.
The first one. do questions have to be open related, or can we talk motorcycles? I'm guessing that's to you, Boz. So I don't know if you must have met Ed maybe at some point in your. So Ed's judged before, certainly at regionals, and he was at Wodapalooza this year, but I'm not sure he's judged the games yet.
Cool.
But I think
I have met
year.
Ed. I
feel like you probably have never met. Apparently, you've never met. But
we have not. Okay, well there you go.
It's a handsome chap. But his question
I look forward to meeting him then.
But his question is, it feels like there's a greater push to get more in-person judging focus in the open. Is there a reason why this was? And any tips for people fresh to judging?
Yes. I'll start with the tips. The tips pretty easy. Same thing as everybody else. Understand the standards first. I think once you get in a position where you're going to be judging, especially in an environment like the open, where things they're not as time bound as a competition where there's heats and there's, a lot of pressure, and maybe it's a qualifier for other bigger things, or there's prize money or whatever. A lot of that's not present in the open when you're just judging your friend doing the workout. So all that to say, you have some time ahead of time to get with that athlete and just go through a couple reps together. There's no reason that you can't co-create in that process. You have the judge looking at the movement, you have the athlete doing it, you have a conversation. Did that look like it met the standard? Either yes or no. Okay, well, what needed to change if it didn't? Have that conversation ahead of time and iron it out so that it's not in the middle of the workout when your heart rate is 180 and the music is, at an ear-splitting volume, that now we're trying to communicate about what needs to happen. No. Get that out of the way first. There's no pressure before the workout starts. It's just your friend that's helping you out, and it should remain that way. They're just,
yeah. So I just want to add, before you even move on to the second question, because obviously you are the man for this, but I have to reiterate what you just said. That is like one of my bigger tips for people when they're going into the gym to do the open workout. Is like, talk to your judge and ask them, how are they going to count? Are you going to do descending reps? Are you going to count up? Are you going to use words to communicate? The amount of people that I know that like get into the middle of the workout and they're like, yeah, my judge wasn't even telling me when I was getting no reps. I'm like, that's on you to communicate with the judge. And like, for me, I'm always like, hey, can you count, like, especially on like the slower repetitions, like count everyone out loud. And maybe for double unders, give me like a little hand thing every 10 and call it out. And then just do me a favor and like maybe let me know like when I'm doing something wrong, or if I'm getting, let's say on a squatting pattern movement, if you saw one rep that got close and I'm about to get no reps, like let me know. Don't just go silent, right? So you got to have that conversation with your judge, because all judges are going to judge a little bit differently. Some people count down, some people count up, some people don't say a word. Some people scream every single rep into your ear. Like, so it's good to set that expectation. And then, like Boz said, is demonstrate a movement or two, especially with ones where you're like, I think I meet the standard, right? Like, am I fully standing up at the top of that box, right? Make sure you ask them, hey, does this look good? And if they're like, no, then you know you have something to work on. And it's better to work on it before the workout starts rather than after you're in the heat of the battle. So that was bravo. Great point, Boz.
Thank you. Well, as far as the second question, hold on one second here. As far as this,
Okay, we've lost Buzz for a second.
Buzz,
Oh,
I think
CrossFit
when
HQ just removed Buzz from the.
So I have
That is
I have
literally it.
I have some thoughts on the and he can confirm about this. Is the reason there's more maybe in-person focus is one, it's a little bit more difficult to do, like it's hard to get people to do analysis of everyone's score. Like there's so many people that submit videos to get judged. A lot of them never get looked at. And then secondarily, obviously they want people to register for the judges course. Obviously, there's, I'm not saying it's a money grab, but
But you're not saying that it's a money
but I'm not saying it. But it's also it's promoting more people to be able to do the open from anywhere in the world. And like, so there's a lot more garage gym athletes that I feel like are going to have access to doing the open and participating rather than having to video every single workout and figure out the logistics of that. They get someone to take the judges course and then they can have someone judge them from a garage gym. So I think it's just like widening the pool of available people to do the open. And now Boz is back, so now he can actually answer the question.
Sorry about that. I got fat fingers and I'm working on my phone. I totally hung up and I didn't mean to. So anyway,
But fat fingers are really good when you're holding up like 2 more reps, 1 more rep. People can see the fat finger from a distance, so it's definitely a good thing.
Good to go. Yeah. But yeah, as far as trying to get more people judging in the open, yes, I think yes. The short answer is, of course, we want more people engaging in that process. And really, at the bedrock of that is we want people to be able to do the open regardless of their circumstance. So if you're at a place where there's lots of affiliates and you're already a member of an affiliate, awesome. That's going to be, in my opinion, the most fun way to do it. So jump in there and have a blast with it. But maybe you're in a part of the world where the affiliate density isn't there yet and it's hard for you to get to an affiliate, but you have a group of friends that want to get together and do this thing. Okay, well, you can help each other out by doing the judges course, having a few people within your cadre do that, and now you have an opportunity to play that isn't dependent on you being close to an affiliate if you don't happen to be in a position that you can get to one. So that was a big part of the thinking, and part of that spawned from this idea of the video submission. That's always been an option for people to video submit, and they could do that regardless of where they happen to find themselves. But what we find is that a lot of people don't take that opportunity and they find it intimidating, especially if there's somebody who's not going to be like a real competitor, or they're not going to be somebody who is really experienced. They'd like to get involved, but the thought of videoing their performance and putting it up for the world to see is kind of a bridge too far. Whereas if I can, like I said, I have a group of people, we get together in my garage, we're all going to do the open together. Awesome. We can designate a few people within that to be the judges. We can all work out, do the thing that we know we're supposed to do, and we have an opportunity to get on the leaderboard. So that was the thinking around the judges being a little bit more focal point this season.
Yeah. And I guess as well, the knock-on effect is the more people that do that and are familiar with the standard with regards to judging, it actually makes judging easier for other people because they are more familiar with the standard when they are then participating in the open. And I know that's been kind of the message that was sent around in CrossFit Bath, was that very idea of, look, even if you're not going to be judging, maybe do it anyway, just to be familiar with the standard, so that you're not going to. I think sometimes I know there was an event and there was a lot of people getting no repped on like the front squat, and it wasn't that they weren't going deep enough. It was more when they were standing up. It was like kind of getting back up, not fully and then going straight back down. And it's sort of somebody's surface level thinking is, oh, front squat, I've got to make sure they go below parallel. Like that's the focus. And you're like, well, that's one side of the focus, but then when they're standing up, there's the other side. Boz has disappeared again. I was going to say to him, I know you need to leave in about 5 minutes. So if he comes back on, we'll just say goodbye to him. But he may have gone for good this time.
I've got a question for Ben. So we've been talking about kind of prepping kind of prepping judges, which is just as important as kind of making sure the athletes kind of get their chance to prep.
Sorry, Tom, could you hold the question?
Yeah, I'll hold the question. Boz, we know you've only got a couple of minutes left, so we'll get goodbyes in, and any last questions people have got too.
Yeah, well, we just wanted to thank you for coming on. First of all, we imagine we imagine,
Oh, yeah.
open season is very busy for you, but we really appreciate you coming in and
True
sharing your
story.
time with us.
We've got one more question for Boz before we go, because Ed's a real
Okay.
good. Ed's a judge, and a very good one, I think. But he and a friend of the show. Also, he's put, what's Boz's next planned long bike trip?
Oh, I don't have anything on the books, sadly, for the foreseeable future. Although I moved across the country last year. It'll be a year coming up in about a week. And there's a very famous route close to my house now called the Natchez Trace. It's a 450-mile road that started as a trade route from the native populations, and then it became a road, and now it's a causeway, and really famous. So I want to get out and ride that at some point, but I don't have anything super firm planned yet. Maybe in the spring.
So are you in Tennessee now? Is that?
Yeah, I moved to Nashville. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Cool. Nice. Great city.
Yeah, I love it. It's been great.
Is that because you want to be a country star, or you just?
That's I want to moonlight. Absolutely. I got a bolo tie, and I really did get a bolo tie. But
yes,
that's all I wanted for Christmas. I told my wife that I want a bolo tie, and she got me one. So
Nice. Oh, fantastic.
yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Anyway,
And
I've got to run, guys.
take care,
worries.
Boz.
Thanks.
We'll see you on
Boz.
the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Yeah, it's been a blast, and I love it that you guys are so pro the open, and it makes me really happy that you guys are trying to get as many people involved as possible. So thank you. Just want you guys to know there's a team of people that make this happen, and they work so hard at this point of the year to try to make it such a cool experience for everybody. And they've just been grinding for weeks to push this thing over the finish line, and they thank you too. So on behalf of them, I appreciate what you guys are doing to try to get people involved. So we'll see you guys on the leaderboard.
Cheers.
Thanks so much, Boz.
Bye.
Bye.
Tom,
Tom, you had a question for Ben.
I'm going to go back in. There we go. And
I'm ready.
I kind of went out too hot. There we go. That was the problem. So I was going to ask there, we've been talking about making sure, your judges are kind of like suitably briefed, and you've had that brief with the person that you're kind of judging. But if we look at kind of prepping, one of the things I find, and I'm thinking Friday Night Lights, you've got lots of heats, right? And hopefully your coach, if it's been done in a class environment, is giving you that kind of general warm-up, which maybe you can all do together, but then you're going to have that movement specific warm-up. One of the things I've found, and there's two levels to this question, right, is that you might not be in the first heat, which means, and if it's a 20-minute, say, you've got a 20-minute time cap, you might be kind of hanging around for quite a while, probably with reduced space, potentially with reduced equipment. How do you have any kind of thoughts on, and I guess as an affiliate owner, right, you're going to be experiencing this firsthand, is trying to make sure those in the second heat, because you might be trying to get people quick turnaround as well, kind of staying warm, but at the same time, not overcooking themselves in the warm-up, being I just did a 40-minute warm-up for a 10-minute workout.
Yeah. The short answer to that is it depends on the equipment and stuff like that. But for me personally, I would just if I know I'm going in a later heat, multiple hours after, or potentially over an hour after the initial brief, I'm not going to try to stay warm that entire time. I'm going to sit my butt down and watch people do it and see if I can especially people maybe that I would resonate with, oh, wow, that really tripped them up a lot more than, we expected. You kind of look at other people and see where they're hurting meaning where are they struggling? Where are they really getting fatigued in the workout? And then, take note of that and apply it to your strategy. Ask some people when they're coming off the floor, hey, what surprised you? They might be oh my God, my grip was smoked. And you're gonna be what grip? There's gonna be a lot of stuff you can learn from the people on the floor. And then honestly, I don't warm up that much. I would say 5 minutes, but let's use a realistic answer here. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes before go time, I would hop on an air bike or maybe hop on a rower and just really, really slow pace. Just your whole goal going into the workout, have a little bit of a bead of sweat on your head. That's it. Just make sure you've practiced some reps to the standard. As long as they're not 1 RMs, if there's muscle ups in the workout, I might not burn out too much practicing muscle ups. I'd maybe warm up my pull ups, warm up some ring dips, or I know there aren't rings this year, but warm up some pulling movements. But just like my basketball coach from way back when used to just say, like, when we start the game, you should be sweating a little bit, right? You don't want to start a game not sweating. So you wouldn't want to start an open workout completely cold unless it was like a very long workout. Like if they pop up like a 25-minute AMRAP or something like that, then really you don't need to be like hot going into it. But especially if it's a shorter workout, 7-minute AMRAP, 10-minute AMRAP, or, you know, just like a tighter, shorter workout, like you want to go in already being a little hot. Like I want some pit sweat. I want a little bit of a bead of sweat on your head. That just means that your body's warm and isn't going to be shocked when you put the pedal to the metal. So it's a simple answer, but I know like inside of our we are doing like a coaching group for the Open. It's only $3, so it's pretty, cheap. I don't know how much that is in quid or euros or whatever the heck you guys use over there, but it's cheap, okay? And in that, we actually like write like custom warm-ups. Like when the workout is released, my coach designs a custom warm-up for that. And I would just like maybe take pieces of that depending on what equipment's available, but just go in sweaty. That's my, super high level advice.
That's a good criteria, because like you said at the beginning, it depends on the environment, the equipment, but actually, like said, and Boz said it earlier, we're trying to get to a situation where like athletes like can kind of operate independently, autonomously. And actually, if you've got that as a criteria, like, okay, I should have a bit of a pit sweat, a bit of a bead of sweat, just feel warm, just feel hot, ready to go, depending, unless it's like a 25-minute AMRAP. But,
tie your shoes and go pee. Boom. Add those to the checklist, and then you're going to be ready to hit the workout.
Yeah. Chalk everything.
You say that actually, I started a workout yesterday and forgot to tie my left shoe. So I was on the bike, like, why is my shoe coming? Oh my God, I didn't even tie my shoes.
The amount of people who fail double unders because their shoes come untied, it happens every year. And anyone listening to this podcast that single knots their shoes, you need to reconsider all of the choices you've made in your life and realize that you need to join the double knot club. It helps in all aspects of life, I promise. Please double knot your shoes.
Or if you're a fan of the Froning Nano, add Velcro too, right? That's
sure.
Belt,
why not?
Belt and braces.
If you've got a little padlock you can stick on as well, then you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. I didn't know what to expect when we asked like advice for the Open. Learning to tie your shoes is one of the most interesting.
Oh, it drives me crazy every year. It was always the double under workout because there's something like, we don't jump that much. So all of a sudden when you do this repeated jump, the shoes just come untied. And the amount of people that I've seen like in our coaching groups and one-on-one athletes, I mean, at gyms I've gone to that are just like, and then in the middle of the set, they like reach down, they're scrambling to tie their shoes, and then I'll watch them do another like single knot and like go back to double unders.
I'd like to pretend that like the shoes coming untied is a welcome rest during a workout. But the issue with tying the shoes is you're bent over double, and it definitely
they're trying to do it. They either believe the earth is flat or they're perfectly designing their workout. They're so smart. They're like, I'm going to single knot my shoe so that it comes apart so that I get extra rest. Like
there's no way that I can't even tie my shoes and I spike my heart rate. It's like my fingers don't do the thing that I want them to do. Like I was just jumping up and down, and now I've got to tie this fine motor skill. Like
Yeah, maybe the answer is to buy slip-ons. I think that's the answer. Is maybe some Crocs or something like that.
That's interesting because unfortunately we've lost Oz because I noticed in the rule book they actually specify. Why am I getting feedback? Cool. They specify shoes that have to be worn.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I'm not hearing any feedback on my end, so you sound good to me.
Okay, that's fine then. It's not there now. Okay, I can still hear it. But anyway, if you can't hear it, that's fine. Yeah, it specified shoes. So you can't go barefoot. You can't wear socks. You can't wear open-toed shoes.
Okay.
Or slippers was the other thing that they mentioned. So I don't know where Crocs fits in to this because there's quite number
I
of
did want to
CrossFitters
ask
are-
Boz about the new grip rules. There are some newer grip, like gymnastic grip rules. So they changed the verbiage a bit. And the new rule, kind of the way it's written, technically would make every single games athlete of years past like null and void, because it's the way that everyone does it. Like basically like using your gymnastic grips for grip, not hand protection. That's kind of what everyone uses them for.
Yeah,
Is to
you wrap it like you would with a wrist wrap. Like you wrap it over and it flicks under all the way around.
and it's not like a full rip, like
Mm.
I think maybe what they're banning here is like full wraps rather than just folds over. But yeah, I mean, most grips are kind of helping people with their grip, and it's like a huge benefit. So it'll be interesting to see if this year, like if that comes into play, because they kind of just slid it in there. And if there's a pull-up workout or bar muscle up workout, like every single games athlete does the grip over technique, and kind of the way that it's written, it would be illegal. So I actually really wanted to ask him about that, but oh well.
Yeah, because it literally just says like if it assists, and you're like, well,
every grip.
or even was it like anything that even mentioned like you can only use chalk, you can't use any other. I think it's like sticky substance.
Some people wax the bars because they don't want chalk everywhere, and I think that's still allowed, but you can't combine it with chalk or grips or something like that. I don't know. There's kind of a lot of little nuances in that rule that I really want them to do a picture demonstration, because there is, based on the way it's written, like every tip I've ever given about grips, the way every single CrossFit Games athlete wears grips would technically be illegal now. So we'll see.
So it has the potential to kind of like rule out fingerless grips, right? Because that would be one way. Sure. It's like if you have finger holes, it ensures that like you're not getting a full wrap round. But,
you still could do it though, because like there's grips where like they're extra long and you basically fold it, so you're still in the holes, and then
which is actually how they. If you buy those grips, generally that's what they say, right? They're like, no, you don't put them here. You should, pull it down there. There should be a fold. It should dowel over the bar.
Sure, which is like you're not allowed to use dowels, but if the fold of the fabric creates a dowel-like effect, right? There's so much there. So anyway.
How they judge whether it improves grip is obviously difficult, even in person at the games level, right? Because unless, I don't know, you're going to do some scientific experiment where like you load someone when they're fresh with weight and see when they let go and then try it again without.
Well, I mean, and every single games athlete, like I specifically remember there's the one workout from the games last year where everyone was doing chest to bar pull-ups. It was like high volume chest to bar row, high volume chest to bar, yada, yada, yada. Every single person on the bar, you could see all of their grips super long over the top of the bar, and they were just ripping out these reps. And every one of them, unless they were lying to you, would be like, "Oh yeah, it helps me grip the bar." Right? It's not a hand protection thing. At this point,
the rule should just be that your grips can't touch your palm, because that is essentially because you flip them over and it flips under your palm, doesn't it? So that's how you grip.
Yeah, but I mean, not touching your palm, because that would, I don't know. I feel like that would be even harder to judge, because like, how do you know whether you're touching the? I don't know.
Whether they're touching the palm.
It's a tough one, man. So shoot, I meant to ask him that, but oh well.
I wonder what it says on the judges course. Anyone done that?
I don't think that was judged on the judges course.
There we go. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, this is the interesting thing of the Open, isn't it? Is that this is like the fact that you've got this competition that is global and a community event, and you've got elite level athletes and weekend warriors and people that are brand new to this. Is the first kind of competition they've ever done, and you're all in the same pot. Like, it is difficult, these kind of things, because you're sort of, how do we, spell it out for some, make it clear for others, like.
Here's my unofficial advice. Unofficial. If you are someone who's going to potentially make it to the like semifinals, you should definitely pay attention to that rule. Anyone else, I don't think it matters that much, right?
Yeah.
Like even myself, like I'll probably use it. Yeah, it'll protect my hands. Like unless they come out and say you can't do this, I'll be like, all right, whatever. Like I'm gonna wear my grips the way I normally wear them. And I'll make the quarterfinals probably pretty easily, and then I won't even be remotely anywhere close to making the next level, and it doesn't matter. So
I've got one more question, kind of talking about things like grips and like, we're worrying here. Like, say, if you're making it to semifinals, maybe you got to pay real close attention to that rule. Make sure you're not going to come unstuck. Sure. Earlier, we were talking about kind of whether it be like using a heavy wall ball throughout the year to make then the open that like train hard, compete easy. Save your weightlifting belt for best, right? Don't use it all the time. For the majority of us, on the call, but equally those listening, like it's about fun and it's about first and foremost, obviously move to standard, hold yourself to account. But are there like any other things? We've talked about what you should do, but are there any other things that you'd be like telling people like, don't sweat that because it really doesn't matter?
Let's see. Don't sweat it because it doesn't matter.
Tom is clearly looking for some personal advice. He's
totally.
for a crisis at the moment.
I think
Ben told me it doesn't matter, so I won't bother.
I think a lot of people get like really, stuck up on maybe like, for instance, let's say there's the workout, there's an RX and there's a scaled. It's a 20-minute AMRAP. And they start the RX workout knowing very well that they're going to hit a limiter. Maybe they can't do pull-ups and you should try. Okay. Open magic is real. We've covered that. But let's say you get to a piece of the workout where you're like, I can no longer continue to do this workout at the RX level. I've seen people literally sit there taking up a heat for 18 minutes, just like, I'm just going to be here because I can't do it RX'd, but I'm in the RX division. I got my 8 reps and now I'm in the RX division. I'm just going to sit here. I highly recommend against that. Like do your RX, like let's say you have a limiter in the workout. We'll just use pull-ups as an example. Get your RX reps and then scale the workout so that you actually get a workout the rest of the heat so that people aren't just sitting there looking at you and you're just like, here I am, right? Like it's one thing if you're like actively attempting reps, but if you're not even close to getting your chin above the bar, scale the workout and then continue by doing the scaled division for the rest of the workout, or just scale that one movement and we won't count any of the other reps. Like people, I think sometimes people get too caught up in like the black and whiteness, allow yourself to modify the workout and then like make sure you only put the reps that count into the scoreboard. And if you have to throw in scaled reps in the middle of your workout ends, right when you had to make that transition. But like allow yourself to get a good workout and have fun with it. Don't be so like black and white, like, well, I'm RX and I can only do 8 reps in this workout. So I'm just going to stand here for the remainder of the time. I think that's silly. Get a workout.
Yeah. I literally told someone that today. I was like, do this, like do as many reps as you can RX and then just scale the workout and do the rest, but have fun. But just remember that score will be higher just for that. It's kind of like a silly thing, but that's how it works. But then I think going back to like when we talked about doing the open in the first place and that it should be fun, it's not fun to, especially if other people are around and they're watching you like, oh, I didn't enjoy the open. Why not? Oh, because I did 8 reps and then I stood there for the other 18 minutes of this AMRAP and I just couldn't do anything. And it was just, everyone was watching me. I'm like, well, do those reps, then have enjoy the scaled workout and have fun doing that. Yeah.
Amen.
You had a follow-up bit, Tom. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I think it's like, say, for all of us, like, we're on a fitness journey and the open is just a milestone in that. And it's important that we still, as Pat Sherwood would say, fitness is still achieved, right? So, if you really want to post that RX score, 100% agree. And it's something I could actually see myself doing this year. I actually, to be honest, I got back in the garage gym and went with the scaled weight of the dumbbell and was like, maybe I'll start scaled and then see where we go from there.
There's no shame in that at all, man.
100%. No, I'm definitely more at peace with that now.
Yeah, that's what I did last year. I can't remember what it was that it was. I think what was 21.2. Was that a dumbbell and a box?
That was a dumbbell snatch and burpee box jumps.
But that was the one where you could snatch with an object if you were doing it at home or something. So yeah,
that was also the one that Tom took a spill on the box.
Oh yeah. TKO.
Like you snatching your toddler as well? Were you just like, oh, well, I got this 20-pound baby. I'll just
This was in his carefree pre-baby days.
I was oblivious to the wonders of parenthood at that point. But no, that was it. But I definitely came down, body slammed a box. Thankfully, it was a padded box. But yeah, that was fun.
Maybe we'll post that again on the PlayStat chat page. That'd be pretty decent. What's the 20? I was trying to think of the workout that I did.
The one that you so it was wall walks and double unders was the first workout.
I did that. Was
dumbbell
fun.
snatch, and the one that you will have scheduled was probably the last one. That was I think it was front squats, pull ups, thrusters, front squats, muscle ups. No, sorry, front squats, toes to bar, thrusters.
So I think
front
toes to bar
squats,
was first.
pull-ups,
Yeah.
thrusters, and then it was the muscle ups to the last.
It was toes to bar first, then chest to bar, then bar muscle ups, 30 of each, and there was like a rest built in.
And then there was and then there was a barbell complex at the end.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that
workout. That was
awesome. So I did the first because my gymnastics is limited.
Under development.
Well, that's it. I again watched a lovely Wodprep video which talked about power to weight ratios, and I'm pretty powerful, but I'm also pretty heavy. So one of those has got to go up, or the other one's got to come down. Which is we're working on it. We're working on it.
Absolutely. So could you do the toes to bar of that workout, and then just like when you got to the pull ups, was it a no go or?
No, it was. I did the front squats and then
perfect
toes to bars, and then went to knee tucks. And
yes, that's the way to do it. So you got your 30 reps or 15 reps, I think is what it was.
Yeah. I finished the workout. I think I might have even gone to the equipment free version. I can't remember because I didn't have a pull up bar either.
Nice.
So I just had like a hanging, a balcony essentially. So I could,
that's awesome.
I wasn't
4 stories up.
I don't think I could do a toes to bar on a hanging balcony dangling over,
Yeah.
So it was like V ups or something, wasn't it? Or whatever the equipment free version was.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But it was a fun experience last year doing 3 different open workouts in random fields and garages and parking lots around the UK for us as everything was closed. And this year we're all back in the box, so we're looking forward to actually getting to tackle a real open workout. Thank you everyone for coming along. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know Tom, as you know, I mean, if we didn't mention it, he's still got a very young child at home. So unlike Sam and myself, that we can relegate them to the off to bed at night, Tom, your dear daughter hasn't yet understood night times for sleeping, right?
We've all got colds as well right now, including myself. But like a 5-week-old with a cold, it's heartbreaking because I'm not a confident parent yet. So I'm like, oh my god, can they breathe? So it's 4 hours sleep and colds throughout the houseld makes.
Have you gone for that? Is it an apparator where you put it in the nose? That's it, and you suck the snot out of the nose.
I remember those. Ugh.
I feel like using one of those on myself right now. But I did train 2 days in a row though for the first time, since my daughter was born, and then kind of got a cold to the. I probably just burnt myself out and just killed my immune system, and then whack. It was like so. Like say, Ben, I think you said it's perhaps too late for any strength or fitness gains now. I know
it's all about strategy at this point, Tom.
Yeah, well, Hat Hewitt here was saying that it's never too late for mobility, though. So that's perhaps what I need to be doing.
Just movement, man. I mean, you can do air squats. You can squat a broomstick or something like that. Like, just go through the ranges of motion. That's way better than just sitting there.
Yeah,
right.
That's my plan
for you, especially being sick. Like, prioritize sleep and hydration.
Yeah,
and decent nutrition, and then just get moving a little bit each day, and that's going to help keep those rusty door hinges, as I say. If you haven't moved your shoulder in 2 weeks, if the workout starts with overhead squats, it's going to suck. But if you've been, mobilizing and doing some movement, then you'll be in a much better spot.
I'm sure that'll speak to many people who are perhaps like, I'm nowhere near open ready, but there's always something you can be doing.
There's always something you can do. And sometimes doing something is prioritizing rest. So.
Well, that's my open strategy this year. I'm actually going on holiday. I'm I'll be leaving on Friday. I'll be coming back Thursday, ready for the open workout Friday morning. So I'm hoping to be fresh, well rested, and ready to tackle the open workouts. And I'm hoping that because they've brought forward the time of the announcement, by the time I'm ready to tackle it Friday morning here in the UK, I will have found a Wodprep video already uploaded onto YouTube with the strategies that I can tackle that workout. So if you're not already following Ben on Instagram or subscribe to the Wodprep YouTube channel, highly recommend you do that all year round. Like I know when we posted this up, I was getting messages from people from the box being like, "Oh yeah, that Ben guy's really cool. I watched his one on muscle ups, or I watched it on this," because you are very much a go-to source when people are trying to master a movement. So if people aren't already checking those videos out, highly recommend that they do. It's been an absolute pleasure to oh. And yeah, we're getting some claps from Claire. She agrees. Wonderful.
Thank you, Claire.
If Claire, you've distracted me and I cannot remember what I was going to say at this point.
We'll be doing socials.
Unbelievable. You can, of course, also listen to Ben on the Scale and Bale podcast as well, that he does with John of Make Wads Great Again, if you're not sure who John is.
Very
of course,
small
as always,
Instagram page. No one's ever heard of him. Yeah.
People,
I just let him come on the podcast for, charitable reasons, but
it's kind of you. And you guys had a live one at Wodapalooza, right?
Yeah, it was terrible. We couldn't hear each other, but we had fun.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear each other though.
Maybe it's better for that. Who knows? Yeah. As always, you can follow Tom at Chalking Fitness, Sam at La Roche Original. We because we had so much fun talking with Ben and Boz, we didn't get in any news, but I know congratulations, Roman Krenikov. We're happy to hear that you've got a visa and that you're actually potentially be at the games this year. That's incredible. And Sam was looking forward to the Open announcement, the first one where we've got we got Velna and that's the wrong one.
Who do you want? Oh no, I'm trying to bring up the news as you say it. Like you're just jumping.
Yeah, that's right. I'm wrapping up quickly because Tom's got to go. Who have we got? Yeah, Olsen, Velna and Olsen, Brandon and Bradshaw. That'll be
Shadburn.
Yes, Brandon.
I'm much more interested in the female division in this particular workout. I don't know why though.
The thing is though that they work out together all the time, so that's going to be.
But we never get to see them out on like a live competition floor, right? For various reasons. So that's going to be fantastic to see the the Underdogs Athletics crew getting out on an open announcement. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, thank you once again, Ben. Thank you, Sam, Tom. I guess that just leaves us to say goodbye, everyone.
Bye,
everybody.
Goodbye now.